Welcome to Inside Hollywood. I'm your host, Jazzie Belle, and today I'm going to be joined by a leading lady, darling. Yes, we're going to be talking all things Wendy Williams, the movie on Lifetime that has just come out, and I think, yeah, so far I want to say it's one of my faves this year so far. So this is a wonderful thing. I'm here with the star, the one and only Ciera Payton. How are you, beautiful?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I'm here. just I'm here.
Well, listen, talk to me about how it is for you. I mean, you are not new to this. You are true to this. You've been in the game for a long time. You have done some amazing work in the past, but this is like a breakout role for you. And I know it's a lot going on. So how overwhelmed are you?
It's it all of it's such a blessing, and I would hate to complain about any of it. So, but it's been great. I mean, like you said, I've been doing this now for about 16 years. My very, very first movie was working opposite of Steven Seagal in an action movie that went straight to DVD. But it's been great, and for me, in so many ways, yeah, I've been around for a while, but this is there's so many firsts in this for me. First time being the lead in a movie, and just experiencing all of the things that come with it. And so I'm very, very happy, and just very blessed. And I just the things that I intended for my performance to be and give to the audience that watches it, I just hope that it's received, and that somebody receives a word or a message or some healing out of it. So that's what it's all about for me right now.
I love that. Now we're going to get right into the movie, the Wendy Williams movie on Lifetime that's out right now. Make sure y'all go check it out. But I want to know a little bit about your backstory. Now, you are originally from New Orleans?
Originally from New Orleans. Well, it's a little complicated.
Okay, talk to me about
Because parents were like separated and never, not together and all that stuff. But my mom lived in Texas, my dad lived in New Orleans, and my grandma, my mom's mom, lived in Mississippi. And so early on, I split time between all three. And then when I was 7 years old, for whatever reason, unbeknownst to me, I moved to New Orleans with my dad and his mother. I called her Nana, and my two aunts, my Aunt Kim and my Aunt Carrie, and we all lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in the Third Ward of New Orleans. And so that was the start of something there. When I was 7 years old, living in New Orleans, it's such a vibrant city. There's so much culture, and my Aunt Kim and my Aunt Carrie and Aunt Kathy, my dad has 3 sisters, and my Nana, they're all white women. My dad is biracial. And so I was this little Black girl living in this household in the hood. So they were like the only white family in the hood. And I'm just like running around, bushy hair, because they didn't know how to do my hair. But they were so, it was so important for them to teach me just all about the culture of New Orleans and the jazz music, and just everything they could think of, and try to teach me, and my dad as well. And so I think with that, I started to just really latch on to the arts. Mm-hmm. And also for me, and I've talked about this in a few interviews, but my dad, he had some struggles with substance abuse, and so did my Aunt Carrie. And that, just as a kid, especially at that young of an age, and seeing that, I mean, I saw it head on, and, I literally would, try to hide the stuff from them so they wouldn't use. I mean, it was deep, but I think acting in the arts for me was just a way to just escape that reality and just find some better ways to just cope and really manage the stuff that was going on, behind closed doors. And so, thank God my dad saw that. And, even though he had his challenges, he nurtured it. He put me into a magnet school in the French Quarter of New Orleans. back then in the day in New Orleans, you had to go to the school that was in your district. And so I used to go to this school that was in my district, but there were kids that were in the 4th grade that were supposed to be in the 8th grade. I mean, it was just like, just not a good school. And so my dad was able to use his boss's address in the French Quarter to get me into this art school. And so I went there, and that's where I started exploring visual art, and then playing the clarinet, and then learning, you know, some acting stuff. And then I just think from there, that's just really where the bug bit. And I just pursued it because it was just a way for me to just shield myself, you know, mentally from what was going on, you know, at home.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, while you were using the arts as your escapism, when it comes to acting, who was the first leading lady for you that you saw on the big screen or the small screen that resonated with you, that inspired you?
You know, it wasn't really an actress, I have to say. It was Dr. Maya Angelou, who was the person that really was my role model as a child. I remember I was 12 years old, and my Aunt Kathy, she lived in Florida, and I would go visit her in the summers. That's a whole other my Aunt Kathy is hilarious. She's just hilarious. She's actually like a version of Wendy Williams to me.
Oh,
But I just remember as a child going to visit my white Aunt Kathy, and they were all like trying to teach me, you know, here's some books of some Black authors, and you know, you need to read. And I'm like, okay. But I remember my Aunt Kathy, she sat me down and she's like, this is Maya Angelou, and you need to read her story. And I was like, okay. And I did. I read I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings. That's what my Aunt Kathy gave me. And for me, it was just the first time ever in my life that I had read someone else's story, and someone who was able to rise above their story, that it resonated so much with me. I just remember I was 12 years old, and I was like, whoa, you know, I may not have gone through that like specific thing at her age, but I know what that's like. Oh, I know what that's like too. Oh, having your grandma raise you, and being in the South, and dealing with all kinds of issues and racism, and you know, and then my mom's in Texas, and you know, her mom went away for a while. Like, so just all of those things. And I was like, wow. And this woman was able to share that. And then when she gets up and you see her speak and, you know, do her poetry at the Clinton's inauguration, I mean, you just can't help but to see how powerful and what a force she was. And so I just devoured everything I could find of Dr. Maya Angelou. And then in my senior year of college, I got the opportunity to meet her, and then take her poetry class at Wake Forest University, and just sit at her feet. And I mean, I get chills when I think about it, you know, but we had a great mentor-mentee relationship for a very brief time, but just a phenomenal woman. And for me, that was my framework of what an artist should be, and really just what I feel like what a woman should be, what a woman of color should be, just who we should be. Someone who is like, you know, I went through all this, I'm going to share you my story, but I'm sharing it to you not to be a victim. I'm sharing it to you to empower you and to inspire you. And so she did that for me. And I just strive to be a fraction of that when I was coming up.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Maya Angelou is my favorite writer. So, I mean, I know that mentor, mentee, what was the biggest advice she's ever given you, or something, your biggest takeaway for being in her presence and being around her?
There was so much. I mean, I just remember when I first met her at her house, and I just sat at her couch. And I got to meet her in the most coolest way. I was doing a play in college at North Carolina School of the Arts. And it was a play, it was like this August Wilson play that just like rocked the town. And like, you know, there were only like 8 Black actors in the drama department, and we got a chance to do this play. And like the rest of Winston-Salem, they just hadn't seen anything like that. They'd never seen August Wilson. They'd never seen that many Black people on stage, you know? So it was, they were like, we got to go see this play. And so the president, or the chancellor of my college, he came to see the play. And afterwards, he was just so moved by it that he was like, I've been invited to Dr. Angela's house tomorrow. I want to bring some of you guys to go to her house and meet her. And some of my castmates were like, no, I'm sorry, we have rehearsal. And I was like, I want to go, like, please. I've been writing her for years and never heard back, and I want to go. And so I went, and while I was there, I just walked up to her. She was sitting on her couch, and I introduced myself, and just immediately she just started administering all this advice to me. And one of the things that she was just saying is that, and oh, so I get chills when I think about it. She's like, you know, people are going to automatically discount you because of how you look. They're going to write you off, you know, as some, you know, another pretty girl or whatever. And she was like, but no matter what, like, you just retain your dignity and who you are, and just know who you are anytime you walk into the room. Always have your held up high, and just always just know who you are, that you're a child of God, no matter what. And you know, that it took me a while to understand that and get that. Also, when we did her poetry class, in the very first class, she shared with all of us, the students, I think there was like 10 of us in her class, she shared with us a quote, and it was, I am a human being, nothing human can be alien to me. And that was all about just how we as humans, we want to just judge, and we want to be like, oh, they did that, I can never do that, or can you believe that happened, or, you know, and her whole thing was that don't judge, and never say never, because we are all sharing in this universal experience of being human, and we all have the ability to do the things that humans do. And so it's such a deep quote, you know, but I really just took that to heart, because that's real. And I think Dr. Angela really lived her life like that, of just, you know, having so much compassion for everyone, and really caring, and know, you know, who she was, whose child she was, and saw everyone else in that same light as well.
Thank you for sharing that as well. I needed to hear that. You have no idea.
Yes, receive that. Seriously, you know, seriously.
Yes. Well, we have to talk with Wendy Williams in this movie that you're starring in. And again, you killed it. Again, congratulations. But I have to ask, how did you acquire this role as Wendy Williams in her biopic?
It came out in the most wildest ways. I was just living my life, auditioning. I had actually just booked the Oval, which was my first series regular ever. And this was probably June of 2019. And there were 2 people on Twitter that tweeted me, and it said, you could totally play Wendy Williams if they do a movie about her. And so I have to clarify, just recently I found out that I think around that time, Wendy Williams had announced on her show that she was going to be doing a biopic. So I think some of her Wendy watchers were like, who could play her? Who could play her? Mm-hmm. And so so these 2 people tweeted me, and at first I didn't respond, because I was like, is this like a joke? Like, is somebody pranking me or something? Because I don't know where this is coming from. Like, this is so random, you know? And I mean, I was honored to get something like that, but I was like, no one's ever tweeted me out of the clear blue saying I could play somebody.
Right.
And so then about a month later, one of them, I think her Twitter name is like Sandra NYNJ or something. And she tweeted Wendy Williams and Will Packer and was like, this is your Wendy Williams. Like, I didn't think anyone could ever play you, but this is your Wendy Williams. Ciera Payton's the one. And so I was like, okay, how you doing? Like, thank you so much. Like, I literally was like, how you doing? Thank you so much. I would love to play her. And so, yeah, so then the Oval came out October 2019, and then the tweets and the Instagram mentions just started bumping up. And I said, you know what? I feel something is coming, and there is a reason why this is happening. So I'm about to just lean all the way into it. And so I started just brushing up on my Wendy Williams, watching her secretly. I didn't tell anybody. I was tucked away, like on my phone, like, okay. And then she does her eyes like this. And then she, okay, got it. Okay. All right, great. You know? And then, but I didn't know. I didn't know anything about casting. I really didn't know anything about a movie happening at all. And then lo and behold, January 2020, my agent calls and he's like, hey, Leah Daniels Butler is casting this movie. She asked if you'd be interested in coming in and auditioning. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Yes, I'm ready. I'm going in for it. And so I auditioned and I had a blast in there. I just went off script. I had my sides and I was like, I'm just about to just do Wendy, you know?
Oh, wow.
And then, yeah. And then after that, I had another audition and a call back. And that's where I got to meet one of the producers, Sheila Ducksworth, and the director. And a few weeks later, I found out I got the role. So it was such a crazy way in which it happened, but it happened. And then COVID did its COVID thing, and then we had to like ramp back up and like shut down, and then we got back up and going in late August, September. So yeah.
Shout out to the Wendy watchers. Woo-hoo.
Right? Yeah, right.
But also shout out to you for manifesting this role. You know, you took the initiative and said, you know what, I do feel something's coming, something's, you know, surrounding me, the buzz is there. You didn't have to brush up on your Wendy skills, but you did.
Look, I was like, this call is too strong not to answer. But, you know, and this is a thing that, you know, anybody in the entertainment industry, not just actors or whatever, but I just think that we should always just be prepared. I mean, I remember years ago, I was like, okay, if I want to play these types of roles, or, you know, if like, because I love action stuff, I was just like, you know, I need to really, you know, walk the walk and talk the talk, you know? And so I was like, let me brush up on my gun fighting skills and, you know, my shooting skills. I mean, I know it's so random, but I was like, okay, let me go to the gun range. I got a membership. I was going there shooting AK-47s and, you know, Glocks and everything. And then about a month later, I auditioned for Walking Dead, and they're like, by the way, are you comfortable with guns? Do you know how to shoot like an AK-47? And I was like, crazy. Excuse me? And I was taking Muay Thai and boxing classes, and they were like, are you okay with doing like a little bit of like hand-to-hand combat with Denai? And I was like, yeah, like, and so I was just like, all right, you know. And so I just think I just share that because I feel like, especially actors, sometimes we kind of just do this like sitting around twiddling our thumbs and like, oh, I want to do that, and it's like, okay, we'll start doing that, and then the opportunities will come. Or, you know, you write your own opportunities, but you gotta, like, you can't just talk the talk, you gotta walk it too. So yeah,
it's one of my favorite mottos in life: create, don't wait, and stay ready so you don't have to what?
Get ready. Yes. Look at me messing it up.
That's all right. That was funny with the auditioning process. You said you just came in and just kind of like freestyled it. But I wonder, because since I saw the film, what were the sides that you got that you tossed away, decided to do your own thing? What was the scene?
Well, they rewrote the script so many times. There was the first script, the first scene originally was about her going behind, like coming out of the double doors and addressing her audience head on, and literally going into the stands and talking to her audience, and like having the you know, the screen behind her and being like, okay, yeah, look, I have my hot girl summer. I wore that. Okay. And yes, I know. Go ahead. Show the picture. That's Kelvin. We'll get to that. You know, it was just like all of that like going on. And so they had to rewrite the script because of COVID, and you can't have like, you know, scenes with like a lot of different people and stuff. So, but I just remember it was like this monologue that was written, and I mean, I stuck to it a little bit, but when I got to like the screen stuff, and there was the casting director's assistant, you know, behind the camera, operating the camera, and I just started pretending that she was Norman, and it just was like, I just was like, and there was no picture there. I mean, it was just all my imagination. I was like, no, put the other picture back up. Come on, let me see. You know, I just was like, just riffing and everything, and they loved it. And gosh, there's another scene that was cut. I mean, cut from the original, from the final draft that we had. And I liked it. It was a really like more emotional scene where she's, you know, she's talking about the miscarriages and even her abortion and stuff. And so And that scene, it was just, I felt it was really powerful, but it didn't make the final draft. And so, you know, for whatever reasons, but those are some of the sides that I had to deal with. And I just kind of put my little Wendy isms, my interpretation of her into them. And yeah, there we go.
You were locked in. I mean, it was eerie at some points. I was like, wait, is this old footage of Wendy that they're showing? Oh, this is Ciera Payton killing it, looking just like Wendy back in the day, yay.
Thank you. I hope at the end of the day I was able to do some justice at all to it, because it's a challenging role to step in. I mean, people watch her every day. Her fans are like, you know, and I think, you know, when with someone like Wendy Williams, and even just a biopic in general, the expectation is to see an exact replica or duplicate of the person that you're watching. And if you don't have everything down to the T, you know, people are going to be like disappointed, or like, but she, you know, she doesn't look like, and she's not as tall as her. And it's like, you know, so there's all kinds of like pressures when it comes to that. And so at the end of the day, I was like, all right, y'all, I already know going into this, the fans are going to have all their little tea and shade that they want, but I'm going to give y'all my interpretation of who I felt and believe that Wendy Williams, the woman that she is. And there you go.
Talking about her approval. Did she see it? Did she tell you you're spot on? Did you have to shadow her? Did you ever get to shadow her before working on this? How was that?
No, I mean, I just found out, you know, recently that when she first saw my very first audition tape, she said that's the one. Yeah, she was like, audition closed. Like, that's the one. But she wasn't in the audition room. I mean, you know, she's a boss lady. You know, she ain't got time to be in every meeting and stuff. And so she, I'm only assuming that the tapes and everything were sent to her, you know, to New York. But she is the EP on it. She worked really closely with the writers and the producers. And I finally got to meet her over the phone 4 weeks before we filmed the movie. And we had 2 hours long conversations. I talked to her for a few hours on a Saturday, and then for a few hours on a Sunday. And yeah, and, you know, from there, she was just very generous and supportive, and was just like, you know what, Ciera, you know, I'm telling you all these stories and I'm giving you all the details, but she's like, I don't care about any of that. What I care about most is that you go in there and you be your most confident self. I want you to just head up, shoulders back, chest out, and just F them all. And she's like, that's what my whole life and my whole story has been all about. And I was just like, all right, Wendy, I got you. So that's what we did.
Oh my God. Again, you sound just like her. I mean, I had the privilege of meeting her, working with her on my and being on her show. So you sound, this is what she said, basically.
Nice.
Have you been interviewed by her yet?
I just did her show. Which was wild and crazy. I mean, not crazy, but the only reason why I say that is because, I mean, I've been watching Wendy Williams since her show just first started. You know, like, I've been watching her since it started back in 2008. That's when I moved to New York, and then I would be in the taxis. So I think her show came about like maybe late 2008, if I'm not mistaken. But before her show came on, you know, I remember listening to her a little bit on the radio, and I would be in the taxis, or, you know, playing the radio at home or whatever. And, you know, and just being like, oh my, you know, just totally in shock, clutching my pearls and everything. Like, okay, like, I like her though. Like, again, she reminds me of my Aunt Kathy. And so then watching her show and being a little young 20-something in New York, trying to figure out how to date and stuff. And she always gave, like, you know, the best dating advice, which one of my favorite ones was, make sure you always keep a $20 bill in your purse whenever you go on a date, because you never know when you're going to have to take a taxi home. And I was like, yes. I was just like, got my 20, like, you know, you better not try anything. And so when I, you know, really started acting and booking more work and everything, my mom would always be like, you're going to be on Wendy Williams. She's going to bring you in. You're going to, and I'm like, Ma, I literally have 2 lines on the soap opera scene. Like, that's not how Wendy Williams works. Like, you got to like, you know, you got to be on something legit. And so just the crazy, you know, irony and the full circle of it is, you know, my mom's been saying this for years, ever since Wendy's show has come on. And now, you know, I got to be on her show today and playing her. So, you know, that's what was so wild and crazy about it. I'm like, wow, this is incredible.
Was that the first time? Because I know you said you guys were on the phone for a couple of hours, but it was your first time seeing her?
That was my first time seeing. I've only seen her in this type of capacity via Zoom and you know, FaceTime and stuff like that. But yeah, so I've never met her in person, and I hope one day that I get the honor to meet her in person.
AC after COVID.
Yeah, after COVID, yes, and no hugging and all that stuff. Just hello.
You know, she'll hit you with an elbow or something, a fist or something.
Yeah.
Now, real quick before I let you go, I do want to know, because there's so many messages in this film and there's so many scenes. It's because her life is such a roller coaster, and we love her because she's so transparent. What was the most difficult scene for you to shoot, and what was the most enjoyable?
The most difficult scene, I would say, I mean, there were a few. I mean, again, it's like there is such a high, you know, roller coaster. I mean, and plus movies and TV shows, you never shoot page 1, then page 2, and then page 3 or 4. Like, it's not linear like that. You shoot scene 1, and then you jump to scene 96, and then scene 72. And so it's literally like one scene, you're going from like dancing in the club to, you know, now your husband's cheating on you to, you know, now you're having a miscarriage, and then now you got to be happy, you know, because you just got a job promotion. And so it was such an emotional roller coaster. And so, I mean, I had a blast, but some of that was just hard, trying to switch from, yay, oh my God, you know, and you have such limited time because, you know, the time frame was what it was.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most challenging scenes was the sexual assault scene, and you know, we had a lot of discussions about it and how we wanted to depict it, and you know, and just especially in the era of, you know, the Me Too movements and stuff, just you know, and not to make the other actor, you know, or the character in that situation be such a predator or anything. Like, we just wanted to just kind of show like how these things have happened in the past, and it was just challenging because, you know, and shout out to the intimacy coordinators that we had on set, Amanda and Megan. They were just so, you know, compassionate and nurturing throughout the whole thing, because what happens is when you're filming a scene like that, and see, you guys, when you watch the movie, you only get like 30 seconds, or I think the scene probably lasts for a minute or something, but that took about 5 or 6 hours for us to shoot. And so what happens is mentally and physically, your body is getting triggered, and it's really thinking like, oh, I really am being sexually assaulted right now, you know? And so things mentally start happening. And with the intimacy coordinators, they were very just accommodating in how to just keep the actors, keep me and Nakeem, you know, present and focused, and not thinking like, oh, was I really touched in the wrong way? Was, you know, it's deep stuff, you know? And so, so that was really challenging. And, you know, that was the last scene of that night. And I was just, you know, so glad that everybody was just, we held a sacred space for it. And then after the scene was over, we just released it and, you know, got through it. And, the fun scenes, a lot of the fun stuff was just in the outtakes, you know, like it was just in the outtakes, and didn't make it to screen, which, you know, I mean, obviously, like, you can't put some of that stuff in the outtakes, but you know, Darren Grant, he got his start being a music director. And so we always had music playing in between the takes. And so there were just times where I would just go off riffing, and like he'd get the camera operators to like do some crazy angles and stuff. And I remember there was at one part where we do the big reveal after she had her plastic surgery, and I'm like walking down the hallway, and we were playing Beyonce's Check Up on It. And so I'm just like walking, and then he like yells cut, and I'm like, keep that music rolling. I'm like, you got it, flaunt it, boy, I know you. And so we just did a whole music video to Check Up on It. And obviously it's not in a movie, but I hope that footage could be floating around somewhere because it was so fun. But all of those, I mean, that's the thing about Wendy Williams. She never takes herself too seriously, no matter how serious of the issues are and the things that she's gone through. She just, oh my gosh, she's just a lot of fun. And I was like, that's what I want to bring to this. And that's what I want people to take away, you know, from this movie is that, you know, we all going to have challenges in life. We're going to fall so hard sometimes, but it's not about how hard you fall. It's about how you rise and get back up. And so I think Wendy Williams, to me, and my experience of her, is really a poster child of that. You know, she's fallen really hard, but she continues to rise, and she does it with a smile on her face, with a little, you know, mannerisms and her little shade sometimes, and she doesn't take herself too seriously. She's always down for a good time and having some fun, chit-chatting and gossiping and giving you the tea.
There you go. Listen, that was a great question. You answered my last question. What was the biggest takeaway that you want people to do? But I have to shout out your co-star, Morocco. Am I saying his name right?
Yeah.
I also had the privilege, yes, to meet Kevin as well. So I've seen
the privilege, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That's what we will say.
Let's just say that, you know. I had the honor of being around them when they were together, and because I interviewed her on my podcast, Women in Hip Hop, to, you know, discuss her impact on the culture. And when I saw Morocco portray him, I said, oh, wow, yeah, spot on. Like, both of you together, magic. Talk to me about Morocco. How was it working with him, please?
Oh, he was so great. I mean, he came on so late in the project. I mean, after I booked it and we started, you know, going into, you know, preparation, and I was quarantining in Vancouver, I still didn't know who Kevin was, who was playing Kevin. And, you know, the way he tells it is that on Monday he got a call and they asked him if he was interested in the role, and he was like, yeah, sure. And then Thursday he was on a flight to Vancouver. Wow. And so I think after a week of me quarantining, that's when I found out who was playing Kevin. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, you know, let's get him on Zoom or something, you know, because the big thing, what my concern was, is that we've all heard the stories, and people who, you know both of them, you know, have, you know, their perspectives of it. But my big thing was like, I don't want to have that relationship played so on the surface, you know, like it's so easy to be like good guy, bad guy, you know, hero, villain, you know, it's so easy to do that. And I was like, I think these people are way more dimensional than that. And I also feel like that's what made their relationship so much of a roller coaster, and even, you know, so volatile at times, is because they loved each other too deeply. And I think that particularly in Kevin's, you know, story, and this is just what I'm taking from what I read off the script and, you know, speaking to Wendy Williams, is that there's just a lot of wounds and unhealed things that he was going through. And when people are so unconscious of that, there is no room for learning how to communicate, learning how to heal, you know, like you're going to really revert back to being a little child and throwing your tantrums. But when you're a grown man, it hurts in a much different way. And so Morocco and I spoke about that, and we agreed right off the bat that we just wanted to show that these people were really in love, and that they laid down and had a child together, and had, you know, multiple miscarriages, and, you know, a lot of just, you know, tragedy and challenges in that area. But he stuck around, you know, to try to have a child, and they did. And so, and we just wanted to be respectful of their child. You know, we didn't want to go up in there and just be like, you're trash and you're trash, you know, and I'm good and you're bad, you know. We wanted to just be able to just, you know, honor their son, and honor Wendy's experience, and just show that these two people loved each other. And Morocco's a great scene partner. You know, I was able to handle what he threw out, and he was able to handle what I threw out. And so at the end of the day, you know, it's the work, and I hope that we were able to portray it in the best way possible.
Yes, and you did, and he gave you all the praise I saw in the interview. So
Oh,
yes,
he's great. He's great, and I gotta give him his praise too. He did that. It was really good.
yeah. So see, before I let you go, one thing I like about this show is because you're not new to this, you're true to this, but a lot of people just see the success. Like right now, I'm sure people were like, "Where did she come from? Who is this girl?" It's like,
Hmm.
oh, 60 years in the game, honey. So talk to me if you can. Give me your biggest obstacle you overcame in pursuing Hollywood. I mean, I've had people come on the show and said, I slept in my car, I was homeless. I've been here for 10 years, living on people's couches, only had $5 in my name before I got my big
Yeah.
break. Just to inspire the people. So what story of yours, Ciera Payton, that you would like to share to inspire the people to never give up?
Gosh, I mean, I'm scanning my brain and there's so many, and I'm like, what's the juiciest one I can tell? um, Look, I've been at ground zero so many times. I think my very first, getting my very first acting role with Steven Seagal is a testimony in itself. I mean, 2005 Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. I was one of the families impacted by that or affected by that. We lost our home. My grandmother died during all of it, and that was just a pivotal moment for me because I was really questioning if acting was going to be. I wanted to contribute something to this world in some kind of way, and I thought early on, like I said, Dr. Maya Angelou was a huge inspiration to me. And during that time, losing all of that and seeing how my people in New Orleans were affected, and my people as a whole, the whole city was affected, I was like, I want to do something bigger to really empower and inspire my city. And I was like, I don't know if being at this school is it. And so I left in 2006, just literally for a couple weeks. And while I was home, an agent that I knew from a restaurant that I used to wait tables at during the summer called me and, told me to go and audition for the Steven Seagal movie. And I was like, no, like, this is crazy. I'm out of the game. And she was like, no, please. And long story short, I went to the audition. I just felt like I had nothing to lose because I had nothing,
Mm,
like,
mm,
and I booked the role. And, for that, I think it was just confirmation of just reminding me how strong I really am, and that there's a purpose at play, and I just, need to lean into it. And then, the other times, I mean, when I moved to LA in 2010, I was down and out, barely $200 to my name, and I lost my apartment in New York, and I was just sleeping on, some towels, and I didn't even have a pillow. I had a little studio apartment and near MacArthur Park, and I just remember crying on the phone to my friend Q and just being like, I don't know what I did. I don't know if I can stay in this. Like, this is hard. I mean, I can't even find a job. And, and prior to that, a friend of mine had helped me get into the apartment. I didn't even have money to, pay down the down payment for that apartment in MacArthur Park. And my friend Q was like, Ciera, just stick it. Just stay at it. Like, you never know. Like, you just never know in this business, like, how things can turn around. And that was 2010. And then fast forward to 2017, I was getting out of a really tough relationship. And again, just had to start over from ground zero. And I was just like, I'm not new to that. Like, I've been there before. I've been where I've only had the clothes on my back, and I've started over, and I was like, I'll make it work. And so that February 2017, I remember I had $248 in my bank account. And I was staying at this apartment that I had just moved back into post the apocalypse that I went through beforehand. And I was like, gosh, rent is due. I don't know what I'm going to do. I remember going and getting my card, and I was like, I think I'm going to go apply for food stamps so I can at least have some food, and I'll figure out the rent stuff and everything as I go along. And as I sat in the car, and right before I was cranking up my card to go, to go get food stamps, my agent called and was like, you just booked this Medea's family funeral role. And I was just like, wow, okay. And he was like, so pack your bags. They want you on a flight in 2 days. And so I literally went from having nothing to being on a first class flight to film Medea's family funeral. And then 2 years after that, the movie comes out, and then I get cast in the Oval, and then the fans are like, you should play Wendy Williams. And so it's been a journey. And so for everybody, just, you know, here and in the game, you know, like stay at it, but stay at it and drop the struggle mentality, the it's hard mentality, the I'm a victim mentality, because it's really easy to get into that in this business, especially when the doors keep getting slammed and you could be like, well, I guess I'm not that good enough. You know, I guess I'm not that talented. I guess I'm not pretty. I guess I don't have a look. And it's just like the minute you erase that stuff from your mind and you say, no, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. Regardless if I got $248 in my bank account or whatever, that's when things change. And also, you better, no matter what, you better keep your faith and just know that through it all and above it all, God got you. I have that on my phone. It messages me every day at 11 o'clock telling me God got you. And that's been the thing that has sustained me. All of this has sustained me over the years, but just keeping my faith and just knowing that God got a bigger plan in play. You know, when I'm looking at that bank account, just it kept me going and kept me afloat. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Ciera. I'm so proud of you. What an amazing journey you have been on. You persevered, and you are an inspiration to us all. So thank you so much. Thank you. Now I feel like I have to like make it fun a little bit. 5 questions,
Yeah.
one word answers. That's what usually, this is my confession.
Okay. I like these.
Favorite actress of all time. What is it?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Lena Horne.
Oh, love it. Favorite movie of all time. What is it?
The Professional.
Oh, okay. Woo. Mm-hmm. Favorite TV show of all time.
Of all time? Oh Lord, that is so hard. Why am I blanking? I'm blanking on everything right now. Because I feel like there's a clock ticking. I'm just like, favorite TV show. Scan that brain, Ciera. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I do remember binge watching the crap out of this show. True Blood?
True Blood, yes. I take it.
I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Do you have a dream role? If so,
yes.
What is it?
Nefertiti.
Nefertiti, come on, Queen. I can see that.
Hey.
If you had to do another biopic, who would it be?
Well, the funny thing is, I've been getting some random tweets and Instagram mentions lately saying that I look like Donna Summer. So I'm like, okay, I'll play Donna Summer, the Queen of Disco. Yes, why not?
And Wendy loved her, so that's amazing. Oh, yeah,
that's so true.
Wendy is a Donna Summer fan. Donna Summer fan. That's so dope. Okay, one word to describe Wendy. What would it be? One word. Ooh, child. No, I'm wrecking your brain.
I know, I'm like, I mean, there's all these words, like funny, shocking, hilarious, good-natured. I mean, I think Wendy Williams is an adjective in herself. She's Wendy. So.
How do you describe Wendy in one word? Wendy, love it.
Yeah.
As she would say, just Wendy, love it. Cicely Tyson, unfortunately, just passed away. If she was here with all that she contributed to the culture, to us, our people, to the arts, if you could, what would you say to her? What would you like to say to her if she was here right now?
I tell her, thank you. Thank you, and well done. I mean, what a force. And she's made it possible for all of us little actresses and want to be actresses out here doing what we do. She broke the barriers for us, and thank you. You will be truly missed.
And well, thank you. And you are a force, and you have done well. So well done to you, my friend. Wendy Williams, the movie on Lifetime, the biopic is out right now. Make sure y'all go check it out. Ciera Payton, thank you so much for being here, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so glad we got this done and got together to do this. So thank you.
Absolutely, me too. Now you enjoy the rest of your day, superstar.
All right, you too. I'll see you. I'll see you on screen.
Yes.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye.